Hey guys, Luton here, and today I've got a bit of a real talk for you, or channel update, call it what you like. It's basically I just feel like I need to tell you guys a few things, and I feel like, so many of you guys have supported me for so long, subscribed to me for so long, that you deserve to kind of hear what I'm thinking about. So, Hardline is coming up pretty soon, and I tell you, I've been wrestling and fighting with myself over it. I feel so, I don't know, split on this game. And half of me this week was feeling like, hey, I should just stop doing Battlefield on this channel, on this YouTube channel. Go the other way. Half of me was thinking that would be the worst thing that I could possibly do. And also, I don't want to either. I covered Battlefield for the longest time. It's a very favourite game of mine. So, really been fighting in my mind over this for the last week or more, and spoken to a few people, tried to gain some perspective, thought about it more and more. But actually what this has led me to is more of a conclusion about the way in which I approach things, the way in which I look at stuff myself. And this ties in directly to what's going on with the channel. Now, whenever you have a YouTube channel, and here's the thing as well, is that I think the reason why I want to explain this is because any future decisions or content that I make, I want people to understand why it is that I'm doing that, and to not be hypocritical or to seem like, just contradictory. And the thing is that people need to understand is that at this point, I have put in a lot of effort into this YouTube channel. I have put a serious amount of time, my personal time, into this channel. Several years of my life put into this YouTube channel. And I've worked severely hard on it. I very regularly am up extremely late editing. Basically, again, like I've mentioned before, I work a full-time job, and I do all of this on top, and I have my own life on top as well as that. So it's a huge amount of time. It's my choice. It's my choice to do that. But at the same time, with anything that you invest significant time into, you want it to be productive, you want it to do well, you want to see the time in which you invest into something be reciprocated. So what this has led me to thinking is, what kind of content do I want to be on the YouTube channel? Where do I want to go with this? I try out different things from time to time. I have tried overall to keep the focus mainly on sort of tactical, objective FPS gameplay. I try to keep it within the vein of the way in which I approach things and my own personal style towards things. I try to, always give you the straight lowdown on things, whether that means that I am saying I hate something, or whether I rave about something, as you've seen lately with City Skylines. I absolutely am crazy. I love that game, and it was a good call because apparently a lot of people are loving the hell out of that game, and it's really great to see that. There's other things as well, like this, my second channel. I'm going to do a big trailer for that pretty soon to try and gather some attention for that, so that's something I want to do. I basically have so much time, I have so many ideas, but just not the time to do them a lot of the time. And that is frustrating for me. But this, let me get to the point, right? The point is that, especially tonight, I felt very, very frustrated about a few things. I felt very irritated and annoyed and just beaten down, and there's a few other things going on as well. And not to mention the way in which Battlefield has changed and shaped, and it kind of, a lot of the time really gets to me. But what this has led me to is, it kind of leads me to look at myself. I think like, okay, what is the deal going on here with me and this content? And essentially, I am quite I will not surprise you to learn that I am quite a kind of deep and very thoughtful sort of person. And I really analyze stuff. I goes over and over and over in my head about, like, what do I want to do? How do I want to do this? Why do I want to do this? And not to mention the fact that I really can't stand doing some things, like you guys are aware of. There's some styles of content that I just feel like, like I got no words, or the words I have are bad. So, there's some things that I just cannot abide by. On the other hand, sometimes I feel like saying to myself, for Christ's sake, dude, just get a fucking grip and sort yourself out. You know, like, why are you making such a fuss about this? So it's you know, and like, for example, the weapon thing is one aspect. This is a good example. For the longest time, and I still say that, for example, weapon reviews in Battlefield 4 are a waste of time. But on the other hand, I do get why some people like that style of content. So here's the thing that kind of always I'm fighting with is, am I making content for what I want to make, or am I making content for what people want to hear me make? Like, what do you want to hear me talking about? Like, yeah, I can tell you stuff about weapons and how they perform in certain situations, but I just don't personally value that as content. So this is the kind of where I'm coming from. I actually ended up having a few conversations with other producers and just people that I respect and speak to. And, you know, one thing that someone said to me was like, hey, look, here's the thing that you've got to do. You've got to hit all of those pieces of content that other guys are making and then inject your own stuff as well. So that way you're hitting and covering all of those bases. And that's really good advice. Because you can be, you know, you can be prissy, and, you know, you can be very what's the word, sort of tight and controlling and you know, finicky about your work, which is a lot of the time how I am. You know, I don't like to just put stuff together and thrash it out. I like to sort of think, like, what am I going to do? Why am I doing, you know, and sometimes you're overthinking stuff. And it takes me back to when I was studying, because obviously I'm a designer and illustrator, and when I was studying, one of the things that I personally found difficult to do was to be very loose and expressive. And over time, and especially now, I'm pretty good at that. You know, I can just literally throw colour at stuff or whatever and ink, and I can make things. And that is, I think, really how I need to be with my YouTube content. My best content, a lot of the time, is when I don't overthink it. When I literally just sit down and go, this is what I'm going to talk about. Something that I am quite pleased that I've managed to develop as a YouTube producer is that I can sit down and just start talking as I am right now and produce something that is relatively competent. I don't have to script it. I can just start talking and it works. And I get to the end and I'm like, that was actually a good piece of work. In fact, hilariously, maybe a week or so ago, maybe more, I sat down and I wanted to have a big talking thing, and it was a video that was going to happen. It was going to be really awesome. I knew what I wanted to talk about, and I talked straight for about 40 minutes into the mic, and it was all really good. And then I looked at the thing at the end and realised I hadn't been recording, and I was so disillusioned. I was just like, fuck this. I couldn't bother to do it again, so I just abandoned that thing at that point, which sucked, but I was just like, you know. So I think for me, I need to stop being so prissy. And it makes me think of, if you've seen Battlefield Friends, they also have another series called Doraleous and Associates, and there's a great scene in that where Doraleous is in this arena fighting a Graboony, and he's down on the floor and he's like bleeding and kicked the crap out of, and like you're thinking, oh god, he needs to get out of this situation, and then basically Neebs and the other guys basically just start shouting at him, and they're like, Doraleous, stop being a bitch, get up Doraleous, don't be a bitch, and it's one of my favourite scenes in that show. But I feel like sometimes that I need to tell myself that. I need to stop being a bitch and just, like, get on with it. Stop fussing. Stop being worried about, like, oh no, should I make this content? What's it going to be like? You know, just make the content. You know, and it's exactly like that advice that I was given. You've got to hit those things, whether you like it or not, because they're things that have to be done and have to be covered, and then add in all your other stuff as well. I care a lot about my content. Why do you think I put so much content out? I work so hard to try and get out like at least 3 or 4 videos per week, which is difficult. And then I have streams on top of that, and then I have Luke and Gaming on top of that. You know, it's a ton of stuff. So there's all of that on board. And I guess really, so the nuts and bolts of what this video is about, I'm going to stop talking in a minute, is just to say I've come to the conclusion that, for example, there are some things like, for example, the weapon reviews. I already have said that I would kind of look to do this in Hardline, and I think there is value to it. But I think in general, there's stuff like the copy and pasted news crap, which really drives me up the wall. But apparently people do want to hear this stuff, and it's like, I'm shooting myself in the foot by not doing it. And it might not be the top of my list of things that I'm going to enjoy to do, but sometimes these are things that just have to be done. You can't get around it. It's got to be covered. And people are going to say, no, just look, you can't escape it. You can't get around it. It's unfortunate that that's the situation you find yourselves in these days. But unfortunately, it is. There's no way around these things, you know. It's trying to make your channel be valid now is such a difficult thing to do. And it sucks. It really sucks, and I hate it. But, you know, like somebody else said to me as well, people that think that if you spend significant amount of time to make just like the highest quality content, that will come back on you, it's just not true. You can make the shittiest piece of clickbait and overall like people will still lap it up. Now, that doesn't mean to say that that's what I'm going to do, because it's absolutely not. I will continue to make content as I have done, but what this is really about, what I'm really thinking about, is that sometimes I dismiss videos that I should probably make just because I personally think, I don't really like to sort of want to make that. I should just make the video. And sometimes I procrastinate and I think and I overthink, and by then it's kind of almost too late and I go, do you know what, it doesn't matter. And all of those are things that are like missed opportunities, and that's really where we're coming from. It's about sort of not missing those opportunities, making sure the channel goes in the right direction. And there are some other things as well, like there's, you know, I would like to be able to do more podcasts. I would like to be able to do other content as well, different bits and pieces like this. I would like to get the very dedicated part of my community more involved in other ways. So there's some other little bits and pieces that I'll try and think of to bring together for that. There's stuff like, for example, Patreon. Patreon as well. I've had so many people asking about how we can support you and stuff like this in the past, and Patreon, I saw Hoodoo Operator started to do this for his channel as well the other day. I already had something in place for it, and I was looking to do this, so that's something as well that I want to bring into the table, because as somebody that works full-time and tries to put this stuff in, it's like I can't dedicate the same amount of time into something as someone who does it full-time, and having that support, and also you'll see when I put it together that it's not about just kind of like, hey, support me. There's other elements in there which I've worked through, which I think are going to be really awesome. I've had people ask about products like t-shirts and stuff. Again, I would love to do this. I would love to design like one t-shirt. I've had Teespring contact me on multiple occasions saying like, hey, like let's do stuff. And I would love to do that. I really would. But it's finding the time to bring these things together. So really, it was just to kind of give you guys a little update about what I'm thinking. The fact that I'm struggling sometimes to kind of come together, and it makes you pissed off. It makes you annoyed. The fact that, you know, you want to be able to cover everything. You want to be able to talk about everything. You want to showcase everything. And sometimes you just can't. I want to be able to give you guys really good content going into Hardline. I want to be able to showcase the stuff there. I want to feel good about the game myself. I want to feel passionate about the game. I need to kind of get over this patch, and I feel like sometimes in my decisions for the channel, like my frustration in being so over pernickety about the things that I'm choosing, I bring myself down. Like I demoralize myself in my frustration. I will look at content and I think like, oh, that sucks, or this sucks, or that. It's like, just do it. Just stop freaking around and just do it, you know. And I think that's where I'm coming from with this, is that like some of this stuff it's easy as well. Like I can give you my opinions about stuff easily. I can say, hey, like night maps, here's the map, here's how it feels to play, blah blah blah, you know. I might not like it, I may like it. It's stuff like this, but avoiding things all the time is not helping me in any way. It's not helping me in any way. And so really that's what I wanted to say today, was that like I think I'm going to maybe just stop fussing so much about some elements and just get that content out. And I think that's really the way it has to be. Just get that content together, get it out, make strong decisions about what it is that I want to do with the channel, and just keep going that way. And don't give a shit about like what anybody else is doing, or whether like, you know, just do my content, enjoy what I'm doing, and you know, try and just push forward, because that's just the way you have to be. That's just the way it is. That's the way YouTube is. You've just got to get on with it. You've got to get busy, or it's just give up, you know. You've got to get on with it. So that's the direction that I'm heading in. I hope you guys will support me with this. I, at the end of the day, always just want to produce content that you guys are going to enjoy. I've had so many of you support me for the longest time, and I massively appreciate it. Yeah, so this is where we're going. Drop me your thoughts below, guys. Thank you very much for listening today for this slight rant. Hey, you know, there's one last thing I want to come up on, is that, I mean, you guys know that I can be pretty ranty sometimes, but I try to always kind of keep it informed. I like to try and keep it on the ground. I like to sort of say, look, you know, here's the deal. Again, if you are actually happy for me to make those kind of videos, let me. This is another thing, like, I sometimes feel like I can rant very well about stuff. I can say, like, look, what the fuck is up with this? Why is this not a thing? You know, I feel like I can make points and sort of discuss in that way. And I can get quite sort of animated about these things sometimes because it's stuff that bothers me. And when you're bothered about stuff, it's because you care about stuff. And Battlefield, for example, is something that I can rant about because I care about that game. It's a game that I've played for the longest time, and there is stuff with it that really pisses me off. There's stuff that I love about it. I think that's probably what... There's videos in that, you know, there's stuff like I love and I hate. I have so much ideas, and I wish I sometimes had just a hell of a lot more time, and I just don't have that time. And it's about maximising your time and maximising your potential, really. That's what this is all about. Anyway, there we go. Right, thank you very much for watching. Please drop your thoughts below, please interact with my videos, and I'll see you next time for some more stuff, guys. Lots coming up. I've got, again, like, loads more news. I know people keep asking me about a lot of things lately. When are you going to do this? When are you going to do this? Trying my best. It's just time. So, thanks very much, guys. See you next time.